So 2015,
Mm-hmm.
how did that decision look, and how do you go from the career that you built up to a career in an industry you know nothing about? How did that actually transpire?
Right, so 2015, I was going through therapy, getting all fixed. And then the year before, I don't know if you know, when you buy Glastonbury tickets, you have to, it sort of all happens the year before, doesn't it? So I had tickets to go to Glastonbury in July 2015, and I went and was absolutely broken, exhausted. And I went with a friend of mine who's much, much older, and she'd just come through cancer treatment. And we both dragged ourselves to Glastonbury and sat on that top of that hill overlooking, just burst into tears. We were just so sort of relieved but exhausted with life. And part of my hallucinations, I was hearing the haka, the New Zealand rugby. And one of the first acts that I saw so we landed there the Wednesday. On the Friday, one of the smaller stages with New Zealand haka. It was bizarre, and I was like, that is a sign.
Wow.
That is a sign. And I was just convinced that was my sign to really make a change in my life. So we had the best time at Glastonbury. I won't mention her name, but she's just so funny, because you see this 60-plus-year-old woman, and she's having a bit of a smoke, and I was like, what's going on here? You know, it's just like so surreal. And we met some guys and everyone. This was my first time at Glastonbury, and we just had the best time. And I thought, this, like, fun, this sense of aliveness, that's what I wanted to experience more of. And then I, obviously Glastonbury was over. I moved departments thinking, right, I'm not going to go back to covert intelligence. I'm going to go into another department, which was overt intelligence. And then first day in the office, there was a guy there that was nearing retirement. I think he had something like 356 days left to retirement. And he looked like a sack of crap. He didn't look great. He was just so unhealthy. And he was eating chocolate for breakfast, moaning about how many days he had left. And I thought, I don't want this to be my life. And I did 3 months, and I just had this burning inkling. You've got to go. Your life in the police is dead now. You've got to go. And I remember waking up one morning, I thought, right, that's it. And I drove into work, and I typed my resignation letter out, and I sent it to force-wide, like people that I'd worked with, and my current inspector. I phoned up not occupational health, HR. I said, how many days annual leave have I got left? 35. Right, book me 28 days because I'm not coming back tomorrow. And that was me, done.
Right.
The inspector was like, you sure? You know, an hour and a half trying to convince me to stay. I was like, no, I'm gone. I had no idea. So the only thing I knew was because I'd already kind of had, I bought a property, done it up north of England as a buy-to-let investment, and I was in the process of buying another one. And I thought, well, if nothing else, I can do that. I mean, it's like when you do a single buy-to-let, it's a couple £100 a month. It's not a great deal of money, but I just didn't care. I just knew that whatever I did, I'd make it work. And so when I walked out, it was November 2015, and it was just the best feeling. I felt a bit, do you know Bridget Jones's diary, where she just walks out, she packs her bag, their box, and she just trots out of the office? That's how I felt. And it was just the best feeling, it's walking into the unknown, but knowing everything's going to be okay, or hoping it'd be okay.
Yeah, be healthier for it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And that was me. And then, so that was November. The 8th of December 2015 was my official retirement from the force date. And then I was trying to find more properties to get to do up. And I bumped into a guy who had a portfolio of properties. But he said, gosh, you sound like you've been in sales for years. We've got this opportunity. Why don't you come and look at it? I'm like, what opportunity is that then? Commercial energy. And I was like, what? Because energy is energy, and gas and electric's gas and electric, as far as I was concerned. But I didn't know there was a domestic and a commercial side of things. I didn't realise it's split into two. So I said, okay, I'll come and have a look at your opportunity. And I did. I went up to, I can't remember, it was Sheffield, I think it was, and spoke to the directors of this large company. It's like one of the largest in the UK, called Power Solutions. And what they're like a broker for agents to go out and procure energy contracts for businesses, and looked at the numbers. I thought, well, I can give this a go, you know. And the mantra was, and these are old guys that have been in sales. I've been in sales for 30 years. Earn as you learn. That was my sales training.
Do you know what I was going to say to you regarding the change of industry? The old mantra in our industry in construction was always say yes and figure it out later.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much exactly the same thing, isn't it?
It is crap advice. I don't care what anybody says. It's crap. It's rubbish. Because you got to think, right, when you are trying to get a broker on board, they were like, right, you can be a broker, you can have your own area, West Midlands, you're trying to expand, grow a team, get these contracts, earn as you learn, and there's a bit of product knowledge. You just kind of doing. So I did what came to me naturally, was just talking to people, figuring out what the problems were. But they were really on a big push for, you got to show them this and you got to show them that, which is traditional sales training. And what happened was, so that was actually, again, end of January, I signed up to be a broker as part of this larger procurement company. And within the first 3 to 4 weeks, I'd landed a really massive contract. And it was more than what I projected to earn in a year. And then another 2 or 3 companies with 5 sites, so essentially 5 contracts. So I'd earned like over a year's worth of money in the space of 4 weeks. I was like, great, this is great. But then what happened is I tried to get into the product specs of thing, and I tried to be somebody that knew it all around the products. What I learned is that people aren't interested in that in sales. They don't care about your product or service. They care about how that product or service is going to help them solve the problem that they have. So is the electric or the gas that I'm selling to them, is it going to cost them less money than what they're paying now? And are they going to get enough of it to service their needs? That's all they're bothered about, you know? But when you're saying, well, we can do this and we can do that, and it's like, just glaze. So actually my sales declined. I got worse results. And then there was some things about the industry, you know, I was just like, what the hell is this? And that kind of leads me on to when you are running away from something. I was running away from the police and I was like, anything's got to be better. It's you have a different mindset to when you are running towards something, if that makes sense. So when you're consciously creating a life that you want, consciously creating the type of business that you want to have, it's very different to, I've got to get away from this thing. You know, it's very, very different energy. And I learned that. Took me a while to learn it, but I learned that.
Positive, negative.
It's you know, everything's a positive, because I think it's the only way you learn, isn't it? It's the only way you grow is to learn from the negative.
All mistakes are lessons, aren't they?
Yeah, for sure. So the commercial energy lasted about a year and a half. It was the best and the worst time of my life, because, you know, I was earning good money for all the stress and the hours I was earning good money in the police, and now you kind of you can't take a day sick. If you don't work, your business doesn't work. You get people you're hiring and you're trying to manage that don't have the passion as you. You're the entrepreneur, you're the person, you're the business owner. They don't care half the time. They just want to earn a bit of money. And if they're not earning the money in the way that they want to earn that money, they're not doing the work in the way that you need them to do the work. So then your business doesn't grow. You become stressed. And so actually I was facing likely burnout again if I didn't do anything. I remember one day just like crying at the bottom of bed going, oh my God, what have I done? But knowing there was something out there for me, you know. And one of the last straws, so I was about 5 months in, I went to a federation of small businesses networking event at Drayton Manor. I thought, right, this is the last networking event I'm going to. I've had enough of this. In terms of the commercial energy. And the reason why I went was because there was this guy doing a talk about LinkedIn and how it had helped him in this really weird something about fabrication business, but LinkedIn had helped him to get ideal clients in a niche market. And I thought, I need to learn about that, but if this is no good, I'm out the door. And that guy was a guy called Tom Mallons, You may recognise the name. I'm now married to him. But
That must have been a hell of a picture.
I know. Well, I know. He talked about that actually at our wedding. It's so funny because he did the talk, and I just thought, one, I thought he was captivating because he's a great speaker. He's got great presence there, and he knew what he was talking about. He'd built this business, but I thought that could really help me. So he'd already released a book. So I said, "Oh, you want to take a selfie? This selfie with this book that he wrote." And he asked me out, and by sheer coincidence, we were parked next to each other in this massive car park. And he asked me out for a coffee, he asked me out for a drink. And I said, "No, but I will have your course." It's the most expensive date because I actually paid nearly $2,000 to do this bloody course with him, LinkedIn. But it changed my whole outlook, and it changed my business. It changed me. It changed the money that I was earning. And so Tom and I ended up dating after I did his course. It cost me $2,000, but earned me a load more. So it's a win-win there. And then we sort of started to work together. He was doing this LinkedIn training, so we sort of changed the format of that a little bit. And then in our quest to sort of really understand how and why sales training isn't better than it was, or certainly that I'd received, started to do a bit of research, and we found this training organisation called Sandler Training, which is an American-owned sort of head franchise. They've got franchisees throughout the world. And we put ourselves through their training as clients as a franchise in the heart of England, so sort of South Birmingham, which absolutely gave us a different outlook, because it wasn't just sales training, it was mindset and how you show up, and actually the difference between traditional sales people and sales pitches and a different way of thinking that's actually more consultative. And it's a win-win for both parties, because actually if you don't think my product or service is right for you, then it's okay to not buy. Whereas you're not taught that in traditional sales. Right. It's like, give them all the product knowledge, make sure they get into an appointment, make sure they buy stuff, and really forcing. Yeah, and it's just...
That's, that brings me on to another point that I was going to talk to you about. So when I was looking into your history, I'd seen that there's a lot on mindset and a different way of selling. How do you find educating others? Like you say, there's your way, or there's a new way, the old way. How do you navigate teaching old dogs new tricks in regards ethics around selling and the culture of, like you say, just get it done, get the numbers out the door? Because again, kind of in a similar vein to recruitment, selling as a stigma, salesperson on the phone, and again, like you say, all these TikTok billionaires, and it's sit there's your phone, don't move from there until don't take no.
Yeah.
Just go to the next part of the script, we never take no.
Yeah.
Now how do you find training people, kind of re-educating people whose mindset has always been sell at any cost?
Yeah.
Kind of Wolf of Wall Street, isn't it? It's kind of the whole,
it is. It is.
The whole whole idea of just get them on the end of the phone. Once you're off the phone, they're done.
Yeah.
More for them, we've won type thing.
Absolutely. So that's a really good question. So I'll put it back on you. How do you like to buy? Do you like somebody forcing you to buy, to book into appointments, even if you don't know what the hell they're talking about, but they're trying to get you into an appointment?
So what I find, which is, it's a good question, because we're in electrical contracting, so we use wholesalers. So there's a wholesaler we've used, myself, my business partner, since I was an apprentice at the company we used to work for, and this guy's bounces around as you do in the industry. But we always use him wherever he goes. He drops back in, drops the catalogue off, sets up an account, because we buy from him as a person.
Yeah.
And in kind of contrast to that, there's guys that are knocking on our door at the office, even though they've said, can we come and sit down with you? Say, look, at the moment, we're not really looking for anyone additionally, we've got enough. And then they'll come and knock on the door anyway. And I'll go to the door and I'll tell them, I said that we're not available at the moment, we're busy. Don't really appreciate you coming unannounced. So I'm definitely of the side of dealing with people, buying from people. And I can't stomach that way of selling. I've got no time. If somebody tells you that they don't want to listen to you, buy from you at that point, because it's never, with us, it's never, don't call again. We just say, look, I'll be in touch when an opportunity comes up, when we get a job that, we want an additional price for, I'll give you a shout. But that's never enough, is it? But again, I know from traditional sales techniques, they're told, aren't they, that that's not enough. No one would walk out. Chris said, no thanks.
Yeah.
Now, what would be a traditional response to that from the sales manager to that person? Would it be, oh, okay, not to worry? Or would it be
subjective
Yeah.
objection, isn't it?
Yeah,
pick some
for
cakes
sure.
up from Greg's and get round there?
Yeah.
But you're always told, you're always told that people, you want to buy, you don't want to be sold to, don't you? People want to buy.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, there's a few valid points there. But first of all, do you know, as a salesperson, or do they know, that what they have is actually what you want and need? Because they've done no sort of fact finding around if you're the decision maker. So if you have a need for any of the solutions that they purport to offer, are you facing any of the challenges that they think they're going to solve with their products or service? So they haven't even asked any of those questions, because it might be that through all of that knocking on the door and trying to force, that you're not even the right person to speak to and don't have the problems that their products or service can solve anyway. So the better way to approach that would be to have a real structured way of approaching somebody within a business and just say, look, this is who I typically work with. These are the maybe 2 or 3 challenges that I help them or that they face. How it makes them feel. Are they feeling frustrated that they're unable to find the right conductor for their business? It causes them monetary problems in terms of the way or how much they sell. I don't know, phone off the top of my head, but they need to find out those answers first to really figure out if you're worth speaking to in 6 months' time or 3 months' time or however long, And I think that's where traditional selling falls down, because you're just forced to sell the idea of the product or service rather than unpick the pain or potential pain that your ideal customer has, And it's suspects and prospects, we call them. Suspect is just somebody, you see of LinkedIn connections, any one of those, if you pull them into your networks, you think, well, there might be an opportunity to sell to them, but you don't know until you've had that prospecting conversation. And that's where salespeople go wrong, because they're just kind of trying to force the thing down the throat, and it just doesn't work like that.
So where you talk there about LinkedIn as well. So I find, and I talk about this in the office, so if I connect with someone, and I know I can see what they want to sell, but I like connecting with people. Yeah, it's nice to talk to people. But then they've got an auto response on your accepting of their invitation, where straight away it's what they're trying to sell you. And straight away with that you go, and you delete it, and then straight away in your mind, Rob, I'm going to talk to this guy now for a while. I thought we were.
Yeah.
Kind of like the desperation of quick have this, rather than like you're saying, create a rapport or a dialogue around, it's nice to connect with you.
Yeah.
Maybe if there's anything I can do to help you.
Yeah.
And then the idea is it that then posts, you see their posts, think, oh, actually, like you say, we've done this for our client because they had this issue.
Yeah.
And then you see that, and it's a story more than just, do you want to buy this or do you want to buy anything, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. You've been pitch slapped, we call it.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
pitch slapped. I get pitch slapped so many times.
I get pitch slapped. It's so rubbish. But that's where the mindset of the salesperson sort of falls down, because first of all, they're doing what they've been told to do, or what they've just learned through seeing other people. That's what I did at first. I was told to go out and just sell
and is that
show
still the old school way of selling, right?
Yeah.
Connect with them as soon as if you can get him selling this or sending this.
Yeah. Well, half the people don't know. Half the sales managers and stuff, they have no clue. And I've worked for a couple of big companies, and no matter how big they are, a lot of the time they don't realise they're still operating in old ways, but they're trying to sell in a new world, and there's just such a disconnect, and then they wonder why their sales aren't as high as they once were, and they don't have any idea on how to social sell, what we call it, using LinkedIn, social media to sell in a way that's one to many. sell people on the idea, first of all. And so then when you've got your salespeople, they're going out and they're just doing this stuff, they get really disheartened. They think that there's something wrong with them. And actually, it's just a role. You're just you're a salesperson. It doesn't define who you are as a person. And so it's like your identity and actually the role you play in life. So, my identity is totally different to the role I play as a salesperson or a trainer or mentor or coach, So, and that's where people really fall down, especially in sales, because they think if they haven't sold something today, they're a really crap person or a really crap this or, and it's, and that's where, and it starts to fall into the psyche, as well as all of the, just think of the things when you grew up. Don't talk to strangers. Well, how's that going to help you now as an adult trying to talk to strangers to potentially help them solve problems they're facing? So it's you're caught in a real trap and a real cycle if you don't find an alternative way of thinking about how you sell to people. And I'm so glad I found the training that I did, and all the other mindset stuff as well, because it gave me a totally different outlook on how to be a salesperson, a sales professional.
So in with a lot of the coaching, the mentoring, I've seen obviously you're expanded out, haven't you? You cover quite a large area. Are you into Europe and deal with countries other than the UK and companies?
Yeah, power of LinkedIn, that is, because I've grown my network twice. So I grew my network to about 17,000 people. LinkedIn had a mad epi. I don't know what happened with it. It had a glitch, and it kind of froze my account. It just wouldn't show any of my content, and so I had to close that account down and start again. But when you are growing your network on LinkedIn, so for example, I connect with you, Chris, and then you're connected to Kev, but for every one person you connect with, that one person's got around about 300 to 400 connections themselves. So actually my network is now not just one, it's 401, and then that expands again, because then for every 400 people maybe you have, Kev, each person's got an average 400 people. So that's where opportunities from abroad have come to me, from the USA, South Africa, Australia, and EU. I work for a Dutch company, and that's where the opportunity. So people are missing out on LinkedIn and the power of social selling and the power of social media, by just not knowing what it can do for them. But as far as the mentoring goes, I just love that, because I've always done an element of training, coaching, mentoring from the police, new recruits coming in, then new detectives. And it just makes, the type of person that I am, it just makes sense for me to be coaching people and mentoring them. Mentor is, I've been in that position, let me show you how you can avoid this and get to, point A from B or B from A much quicker, in a much better way that's going to avoid this kind of stress or that kind of issue. So it comes very naturally to me, and I'm just very grateful that people want to work with me in that way.
Finally, last but not least, can we talk a little bit about your involvement with Suited for Success and Loughborough?
Yeah, for sure.
Charitable organisations.
Mm-hmm. So Suited for Success is it's an employability charity. So the CEO and founder, Patricia White, she used to work in the BBC, I don't know if you know that, but then she formed this charity to help people to get back into the world of work. So maybe they've been in the world of work, they've come out, maybe had children or, sickness, whatever reason, that want to get back into employment, or they've never had any employment and they want to get into the world of work. So what she does is help with interview skills, CV writing, that kind of thing, and then dressing them suited for their interviews. So giving them a suite of clothes that they can go away and turn up to their interviews presentable. There's a big problem at the moment, of course, with the cost of living crisis, and people are finding it difficult to pay their bus fare to get to interviews if it's in person, or afford good clothing to wear on top of their day-to-day spending. So it's really great provision that they've got there. You know, I love working with Suited for Success. The team there are amazing. You know, Matthew does some great work with his styling. He used to work over in Savile Row. And but I've been doing sort of interview coaching is what I do. So people come on board, they're really nervous, want to sort of know what to say in interviews. So we'll talk them through like interview techniques and a bit of mindset. I've been doing more and more often, because a lot of people have been out of the workplace for so long, they don't know what they're walking into. And so they start doubting themselves rather than the skills that they've got to offer and focusing on that. Yeah, exactly. So it's a whole different mindset, sort of coaching that I'm finding myself doing now. And people have got more anxiety now because they've spent, you know, a few years practically behind closed doors with the pandemic. And it's just getting back out and...
have you noticed that? Have you noticed?
Yeah.
Is it palpable? Is it
for sure. COVID? For sure. I had a bit of a time sort of coming out because I quite enjoyed my time behind the doors, I've got to say, with COVID, but I can adapt like that anyway. But for some people, it's just been so bad for them, you know, so bad that they've gone onto disability now. They can't even work or don't feel that they can work. So, you know, I've been working with Suited for 2 years now. Gosh, yeah, 2 years. So, it's so fulfilling. So fulfilling. I don't do as much as I'd like to, just because I tend to just like clock in once a month, go there, do a full day of coaching or mentoring, however many sessions that looks like, and really add value that way because I've got obviously other commitments. But just absolutely love the work, you know, and the difference that Patricia and the team are making to people's lives by actually making them feel a worthwhile part of the workforce of the UK. It's just amazing.
Brilliant. You wouldn't even think it either.
No.
Really. You wouldn't even think of something like that would help people, but it's such a valuable service.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
it
yeah.
is.
Without that kind of service, I mean, that's what Ash said in the previous podcast, wasn't it, when he worked for Department for Work and Pensions. He was working in town, working with the surrounding areas, and it was an eye-opener to him, the amount of people that had never worked.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I imagine taking someone trying to, I mean, even people that have been in and out of jobs their entire career, CVs and interviews are daunting, aren't they? So I can only imagine what it's like for someone that's never...
Bananas.
And there's people that want to get into work though, but this service then, like you say, you come in and saying, well, this is what to expect from the interview. Go in there with a certain amount of confidence because I'm going to tell you what they're going to ask for and you're going to be ready for that. You're going to look $1 million and you want the job.
Yeah.
So all three of them put together.
Yeah,
go and get
brilliant.
it.
Could be made or right. It's literally the difference between gaining employment and not, isn't it? Brilliant.
Absolutely. And so she just got the bus on the road, actually. So she got an office in Hockley area-ish. Yeah. And now she's had this big bus campaign so they can actually take the services into the heart of the communities where people can't afford to, you know, pay the bus fare to get to the office. So it's brilliant. Right. Yeah.
Did that then lead you into Loughborough and make you aware of Loughborough? Was you aware of Loughborough from before? Or?
Yeah. So I was aware of Loughborough before. So I'd heard of Suited for Success. And it was always one of those things, I must learn more about Loughborough. Because obviously I saw PJ out and about and I knew a tiny bit about him, knew a tiny bit about Tim Andrews, one of the other co-founders. And as I say, I was working for Suited for Success, found out actually that Suited was one of the first funded small causes by Loughborough. And then I just happened to see, that was it on LinkedIn, that there was a role for a new business development trustee. So I applied for that, had a meeting with Tim. And because new business and sales is my thing, I thought, actually, I can just do this and really get stuck into something that I know and that I know can add value. And so I was getting married in July. Then I started as a trustee in September. And then the head of operations left in mid-October. And I said, well, actually, I can do a bit of consulting for you. And and I've been there since really 1st of November. Bit of an about term, which has been great. Just kind of building more value in to corporates and, you know, individual members and 0121 got a membership package as well, just to help people understand what are they going to get from working with Love Brum, who are they going to help. Because that, you know, if you're asking people to give money, I know it's a charity, but there's got to be some kind of value exchange.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's just really helping to nail what the value exchange is, so people do want to work with us and do want to invest. Because actually, by investing in Love Brum, what a lot of people didn't realise is that they were helping so many causes. So it's a highly leveraged charity to help to really tap into the community of Birmingham, where people are doing all this amazing work and nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
And the struggle to apply for funding.
Well, it's very important, yeah. Funding, and again, like you say, you need to be able to show the value, don't you? Especially in the current economic climate.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's not enough. It's just like, can we have some money to help with this?
Exposure,
Yeah.
exposure as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Love Brum are good at exposure, particularly PJ and Tim, who are big in the Birmingham community. They shout about it, and that's what's set them apart from other charities. But that's where obviously you and I met quite recently.
Us, yeah.
Feels like we've known each other forever.
I know, and you're fantastic. You are. You're genuinely, you know, I'm blown away by your
As
work.
are you, thank you. But we were just discussing off camera that the Hidden Heroes campaign that's currently going on is that they're all interlinked, the charities, aren't they? So Homeless in Birmingham, the prison guys for the support out of prison. I'm going to miss someone now, so I'm starting to list them off. Students for Success.
Yeah. Standing Tall.
Standing Tall.
Christy, yeah, all of those.
And even to go to, they're all interlinked with, and she's going to kill me because I forgot her name, when they're getting people back into work, into the warehouse and factory.
Better Pathways, Nassim. Yeah.
Well, yeah, she'll kill me for
No, she won't.
they're all interlinked, but they're all affecting Birmingham as well. And to do something locally and concentrating locally is better than doing something nationally and not doing it properly.
Yeah.
So it's super important, obviously, for us growing up in Birmingham as well, and in the areas that we've grown up with, and there's still areas of Birmingham that are in trouble. So
there are
with Birmingham City, that's where they're aiming, in fact, at with their focus and concentration on charities. So it's super important, and it's super important to have you there to be able to. We've done the talk a couple of weeks ago.
the Leadership Awards.
Yeah, the Leadership Awards. And as well as people, I feel people say, have you heard of Love Brum? They're like, yeah. Really, if you was to ask them, okay, so what is Love Brum? They'd be like, oh, it's a Birmingham charity, and probably that's as far as it'll go.
Yeah.
Whereas you got up and spoke really well and told people this is what it is, and people are like, and then they raised an absolute fortune.
Yeah, they did
in the auction stuff.
So grateful for people that want to raise money for Love Brum, and so I guess we can start by saying, right, Love Brum, because when I've spoken to people, what do you think Love Brum does? They think we're a blog. They think we're some kind of magazine. They kind of think we're a charity, but they don't kind of get or know or understand what we do as part of that charity. So I guess, I'll start by saying Love Brum is a charity that supports, we find, fund and support smaller charities, smaller causes and CICs within the Birmingham postcode area. So that actually would sit outside some parts of Tamworth, because, some parts of Tamworth have a B postcode, but every B postcode area, we find, fund, support charities and people doing great work. So we've sort of funded over 200 causes over the last 9 years since it was founded in 2015. And, but now we've had a real focus on the most pressing issues within the Birmingham area. So there's 4 issues: social justice, so anybody that feels that they're disadvantaged in any way or discriminated against, people in crisis, so people that have perhaps faced, homelessness, mental health speaks for itself, and serious crime. Now, serious crime is, it's not having a great time at the moment. It's just getting worse and worse, and we're actually very highly ranked within Europe for being top of the crime hotspot as an area. And we've really we've realised that if we are helping these causes, work within these areas, we have a much better opportunity and chance to support them in a more meaningful way. And so by focusing on those 4 areas, then we can really focus on the people doing work in those areas. So Birmingham Says No, for example, I don't know if you remember Benefit Street, the TV sort of reality show. Dee Kelly, she's one of the co-founders of Birmingham Says No, along with her partner Rachel Warren, and they're doing great work trying to keep and steer youth away from knife and gun crime within the Birmingham area, doing some crazy work out there. They deliver workshops to like bleed control workshops to help their young people to help their friends when they've been stabbed or shot. I mean, to have to do that kind of work is just mind blowing.
You wouldn't even think that would be something that they'd be addressing, which is so
I
sad.
know.
For what we're tackling, it's bonkers.
Bananas. But because they are so small, and because they're not like they're a CIC, so certain types of charities, they get access, better access to funding than others. And so, Lovebrum's a CIO, so we're a registered charity organisation. So we have to do everything like through Companies House, have financial records, etc. But some CICs don't, and so they don't qualify for some of the funding. So by people supporting Lovebrum through memberships, corporate champions, 0121, individual memberships, and fundraising, you sponsored runs, etc. When you support Lovebrum, you're helping us to support our hidden heroes. And so this year we're highlighting 9 causes in those 4 areas, and we're really giving them not just financial support, not a bit of money, bab and off you go, but actually how do we help them grow as a charity? How do we help them to, because they're not business people, these are just good citizens that just want to do something good for their community and make it a better place to live. They're not business owners. And
you provide a structure and a framework.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where our corporates come in. And even our other members, that's like, if you've got any skills that we can sort of match make, if you like, to our charities, to our causes, then by all means come on board, and you pay a membership fee, but that membership fee, some of the funds go to the charities, but some of your skills go to the charities as well. Help them do more of the great work that they're doing, help them to grow their charity so that they don't need Lovebrum anymore.
Yeah.
Because that's my vision. I don't want a charity to be reliant on us as a charity for the end of time. I want them to be able to grow, be self-sustainable. That's what sales do. It kind of links to sales. In sales, you want to be self-sustainable, in my eyes. And so, I would, to your listeners, I would say, look, if you want to learn more, come and speak to me, speak to you guys, put them in touch with me, because they're doing such like plausible work out there, just amazing work, And if you go down and see, and you did the video, didn't you, for Malachi? Saw his mural up. Malachi runs Ambitious Lives, which is he offers mentoring for SEN youth, so special educational needs youth that have a problem going back into this mainstream schooling. Maybe they've got autism, severe anxiety. He told me some statistics the other week about the number of children that didn't go back to school after COVID. Something like 21% of kids didn't go back to school because of their anxiety levels were elevated and all that stuff. And so he's acting as a mentor and delivering these workshops to these kids that really need that support, because we know what the council's like, what the situation they're in at the moment, and providing this support framework, the workshops, but he needs the money to be able to deliver those workshops.
Of course.
And he gets money through organisations like Lovebrum at the moment, and people that want to fundraise or work directly with him in whatever the way that looks. But unless people help us, people like Malachi can't get access to funding. So that's my pitch.
No, it's, yeah.
Gives you money.
No, it is good, and it's clear, because it's really sad that these issues exist, that someone needs to address it. But obviously it's really crucial and it's essential that people have put their head above the parapet, recognises the need for these services and put themselves forward to tackle them. So, yeah, fantastic cause. Well, thanks for your time today, Dionne. A lot of great things covered. You've clearly had a very very colourful life today. You do fantastic work for the charity. So, yeah, good luck with that.
Thank
you
you
so much for your time.
No, thank you for inviting me on.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks. Ta-ra, Babs.
Ta-ra, Bob.